Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS, and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks, buckle up, because what's happening right now in the NFL, specifically in the NFC East, is nothing short of explosive. We've got rumors swirling, whispers turning into buzz, and it all centers around a potential blockbuster trade that could reshape the landscape of the division. And guess who's at the heart of this? That's right, the Washington Commanders. The latest whispers point to a shock move involving none other than Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Detroit Lions star receiver, potentially heading east to join the Commanders. It's a move that could send shockwaves through the league and, more importantly, give the Commanders a massive boost on offense. But let's unpack this story piece by piece, because there's a lot to consider, and it's not just about one player, but about what this could mean for the team's future and their quest to return to the playoffs, maybe even make a deep run in the postseason. First off, let's talk about the player involved. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been a bright spot in Detroit. The Lions, sitting at 5-3, have had their ups and downs this season, especially with Jared Goff's inconsistency. Goff's QBR of 85.6 isn't terrible, but it's not exactly elite either, especially when you compare it to some of the top quarterbacks in the league. And one thing that's been clear is that Detroit's offense, while talented, isn't as explosive as it could be. Their run game, for example, has dipped to just 40 yards per carry, which isn't terrible but certainly not what you'd call dominant. Meanwhile, their defense is trying to hold things together, but it's clear they're prioritizing cap space and roster flexibility, something that makes a trade like this even more feasible. Detroit has around $20 million in cap space, and they're prioritizing extensions for key players like Hutchinson, showing that they're looking to build for the future rather than just the here and now. Now, why would the Lions consider trading away a player like St. Brown? Well, that's where the strategic considerations come into play. Detroit is cautious about over-reliance on certain receivers, especially with the issues they've had with their wideouts in the past, like the Packers' struggles with their WR core in 2024. And interestingly, the Lions are also evaluating their roster with an eye toward the future, especially with Jared Goff's contract, and whether they want to invest long-term in him or pivot to a different plan. But for the Commanders, acquiring a player like St. Brown isn't just about filling a slot receiver role. It's about elevating their entire offense. And let's be honest, adding a consistent, reliable receiver like him could be the catalyst that takes Washington's attack to the next level. St. Brown has been remarkably consistent in 2025. Through 8 games, he's hauling in 72 receptions for 890 yards and 7 touchdowns. That's a solid stat line for a receiver who's often been considered underrated. His PFF grade of 94 is top-notch, reflecting his route running, hands, and ability to make plays after the catch. Even with a wrist injury that sidelined him in Week 2, he's bounced back strong, showing resilience and dedication. What's impressive about St. Brown is not just the raw numbers, but how he impacts drives and the flow of the game. His YAC, or yards after catch, averages 4.8 yards per reception, which means he's not just catching the ball and falling down, he's turning short catches into meaningful gains. His drop rate is just 19%, underscoring his reliable hands. Looking at his career trajectory, St. Brown has amassed 410 receptions for nearly 900 yards and 35 touchdowns. His EPA per target of 0.41 and PFF score of 89.5 make him a highly efficient target who can be trusted to deliver when it counts. His slot snap percentage, about 65%, shows that he's primarily a slot receiver, a critical role in today's NFL offenses, especially for teams looking to move the ball efficiently and keep defenses honest. For the Lions, the plan is to keep him and extend his contract, but with the cap space they have, they're also looking at other priorities, like extending Hutchinson, especially as they evaluate their roster for the long term. So what's the impact if this trade goes through? Well, for Washington, it's a game changer. Adding a player of St. Brown's caliber could increase their first downs by around 19%, which is enormous in terms of game control and possession. If he continues on his current trajectory, we're talking about close to 1 100 receiving yards in a season, numbers that could rival some of the best in the league. It's akin to what Cooper Kupp has done with the Rams, boosting their offense significantly. And if we look at the bigger picture, Washington's offense could see an increase of around 5 points per game, a noticeable jump that could turn close games into wins more often. Another aspect that's worth noting is how St. Brown's addition could influence the team's overall strategy, especially in the red zone. His efficiency in that area, with a 14% increase in red zone effectiveness, means more scoring opportunities and more confidence in their ability to capitalize inside the 20-yard line. This kind of upgrade could be vital for a team trying to elevate itself from just a decent squad to a serious playoff contender. And let's not forget the psychological boost it could give to the young core of the team. With leaders like Robinson Jr. and a developing defense, adding a veteran playmaker like St. Brown could serve as a catalyst for a new era of toughness and resilience in Washington. Now, looking at the division, this potential move also signals a shift in power. The NFC East has always been competitive, but with teams like the Eagles and Cowboys investing heavily in their rosters, the Commanders are looking to punch back. Acquiring a player like St. Brown sends a message. They're serious about contending, about building a balanced, explosive offense that can match or even surpass their division rivals. It's easy to see how this could set a precedent, pushing other teams to rethink their strategies and look for their own impact players. The NFC East is a battleground, and this kind of bold move could be the spark that ignites Washington's resurgence. And of course, there are the financial considerations. With around $28 million in cap space, the Commanders have the flexibility to make this move without sacrificing too much elsewhere. They can afford to pay St. Brown and still maintain room for other key signings or extensions. The team has been building around a youthful core, and this move could solidify their status as a rising power in the conference. The leadership at the front office seems to be focused on creating a team that's tough-minded, resilient, and capable of sustained success. Traits that align perfectly with a player like St. Brown, who's known for his work ethic and consistency. Now, I want to take a moment to highlight how this could impact the team's draft strategy. With the addition of a proven receiver, the Commanders might feel less pressure to reach for a wideout early in the draft, allowing them to focus on strengthening their defense or offensive line. It's all about building a well-rounded team, and a player like St. Brown could be the missing piece, someone who can step in immediately and make an impact. This would give the coaching staff more flexibility and allow them to address other needs in the upcoming draft, knowing they already have a reliable target in the fold. In the bigger picture, this move could also influence the NFC playoff picture. If Washington can add St. Brown and keep their current momentum, they could be looking at a playoff run with a more potent offense, capable of beating top teams in high-pressure situations. Their ability to sustain drives, control the clock, and execute in critical moments would improve significantly, especially with a receiver who consistently wins routes and makes tough catches. The potential for increased red zone efficiency and a more dynamic attack makes them a team to watch, especially as they aim for their first deep playoff run in recent years. Of course, all of this hinges on whether the trade actually happens, and that's where the league's ever-changing landscape comes into play. The Lions are in a good position financially, with cap space and a roster that's still competitive, but they're also at a crossroads, weighing the long-term benefits of trading away a key player versus holding on to him for a potential playoff push. For the Commanders, it's about making a bold statement, showing they're not content with just being a middling team, but rather a serious contender that's willing to invest in proven talent. And let's not forget the fans. Washington supporters have been hungry for a resurgence, for that spark that can reignite the passion and pride in the team's identity. If this move goes through, it's not just a trade. It's a declaration of intent, a sign that the Commanders are ready to challenge their division rivals head-on. It's about building a team that can compete at the highest level, that can sustain success, and that can finally bring that Super Bowl trophy back to DC after years of ups and downs. So what's next? Well, we'll be watching closely. The NFL rumor mill is churning, and if this trade materializes, it could be one of the biggest stories of the offseason. The impact on the Commanders' offense, their playoff chances, and their division standing could be profound. It's exciting to think about the possibilities, especially for us fans who have been waiting for a team that plays with grit, talent, and a clear vision of winning. And with young players like Robinson Jr. and the leadership of the coaching staff, Washington looks poised to take a big step forward. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. As we wrap up, I want to emphasize that this potential trade isn't just about acquiring a talented receiver. It's about sending a message. The Commanders are serious about competing, about building a roster that can contend for multiple seasons, and about finally establishing themselves as a dominant force in the NFC. If this move goes through, it could be the spark that ignites a new era of success, one that fans have been dreaming of for years. Imagine a Washington team with a potent, dynamic offense led by a reliable receiver like St. Brown, complemented by their young core and a tough, disciplined defense. That's the vision, and it's within reach if the front office makes the right moves. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential trade? Do you believe adding St. Brown could be the piece that finally pushes the team over the edge? Or do you think they should focus on other areas? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinions matter so much to us and to the future of this team. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more insights, and all the latest news from the NFC East and the Washington Commanders. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep supporting this incredible team on their journey to greatness.